Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of the Global Purpose Expedition. So in week 1, we went inwards with our Entelechy exercise. In week 2, we moved outwards to our community to really see how our purpose is already resonating in the world. And last week, you had a chance to experience messages from the future. So to have someone you deeply respect pay tribute to your full life lived mightily. And that, again, was a more kind of internal process. And today, or this week, we're moving back out into the world with the Purposeful Titans exercise. You'll be connecting with people who know their purpose or who are masters in their field. So I want to acknowledge you for all the work that you've done so far and that your purpose trees are starting to fill out nicely. And what makes this important, or what I should say, what makes this course different is that, it is about you engaging in the world. It's not about you kind of sitting in your cave. And we're going to have you actually engage with people who you regard as being soulful or being on purpose. So I'll share a story with you, like when I really got how important it was to cultivate these sorts of connections with these sorts of people. So when I was in business school, I had this materialist, objectivist worldview. I just thought that when you died, that to the victor the spoils, there's no God, like the universe is a lifeless clock type thing. And when I took this course, Creativity and Personal Mastery, led by Sri Kumar Rao, it exposed me to the cold, actually not cold, the beautifully warm, hard truth that there's so much more going on than that our wisdom traditions, our spiritual practices, and the emerging science of quantum physics and quantum entanglement were pointing to a brand new reality that actually we are connected. We're connected to every point in the cosmos. We're connected to, as Neil deGrasse Tyson says, like each other. What does he say? He says something like, we're connected to each other, to the universe physically, atomically, chemically, biologically, that sort of thing. And so, I had trouble with this concept that we're connected, that we're part of everything else. And so I raised my hand. I said, so what's the big deal? Like, if I go on a business trip and I'm married, right? What's the difference between me jerking off and getting a prostitute? I mean, I don't get it. Like, both involve fantasies, both are, sex out of wedlock. But if my wife never finds out about it, like, who cares? And we'd obviously just been encountering these Eastern and kind of quantum ideas of being interconnected. And so Professor Rao, he said to me, and I'll do it my best Professor Rao impersonation. He's this big, powerful Indian man. He goes, "Consider that what you put out into the universe returns to you 1,000 times." And I'm like, shit, it probably does. I mean, it resonated with me on an intuitive level, even though I had been exposing myself to these new ideas in the course. But I had been a giant jerk. I was mean to people. I cheated. I lied. I mean, I think I cheated on every single one of my girlfriends up until basically that course, up until age like 27, age 28. And, I lied. I was a jerk. And the people who we were reading in this program kept talking about how those who achieved a lot guarded their thoughts, meaning because they knew the power of thought, they didn't allow themselves to act in ways that were out of integrity. They didn't allow themselves to think bad things about other people. Not that it wouldn't come up. They wouldn't indulge it. They wouldn't wish ill on anybody because they knew the power of intention, the power of the word. And so I started to look in my life and see who are the exemplars of people who guarded their speech, who only spoke sweetness and inspiration and power. And there weren't a ton of people in my near proximity, and so I turned to the philosophers, I turned to artists, to business leaders, to people who had made an impact in a very high integrity way. And so I read a lot of Whitman. I read Emerson and Montaigne and Marcus Aurelius, and studied some, really beautifully purpose-driven leaders like Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Oprah, Navan Chouinard of Patagonia, Chip Conley of Joie de Vivre Hospitality, Eileen Fisher of Eileen Fisher Clothing, and began to see that there's an intentionality to the stoicism of Marcus Aurelius. That there's a high level of integrity and intention in all these different lives. And so today, we're going to move you out into the world and have you connect with your purposeful titans, the people who have practiced the art of living, who know who they are, and have crafted a life that is fully expressive of that. But first, I want to share with you a quote from former US President Jimmy Carter, who I regard as somebody who has strived to live purposefully and in service for his entire life. Doesn't mean he was a great president, but he certainly is a man who I regard as having incredible integrity. So he says, "My faith demands, and this is not optional, my faith demands that I do whatever I can, wherever I am, whenever I can, for as long as I can, with whatever I have, to try to make a difference." And what Jimmy is pointing to, this elder, I'm just thinking about Jimmy Carter and the juxtaposition between him and some of our other more recent presidents, is that every part of our life is a chance to live purpose. Our diet, our exercise, our relationships, family, community, work, spirituality, finances. And this is what I want you to inquire into. Like, who are the Jimmy Carters of your life? Who are the people in your community? People you know. They could be people in your family, former bosses, peers, mentors, professors. But who are the people who have sought to live by their own values, who have forged their own way in the world, who said, it takes sacrifice, it takes determination, it takes integrity, it takes grit, and doesn't mean that's all that there is, but like it actually takes a lot of work and discipline to be the embodiment of your soul's purpose. So I want you to find 3 people to do that with, and it may take. You may have to reach out to 10, and actually, in order to get the 3 people by your group, by the time of your group call, you want to get them on the phone for 15 to 30 minutes, and you're going to ask them a couple questions. And I'll just share that, like, they can be famous. You can reach out to people. I mean, I've totally cold emailed people and got responses. Like Noam Chomsky, responded to me once. You can find people and find their email addresses, and if you pitch them in the right way, they will respond to you. And if for whatever reason you can't come up with 3 people who are the embodiment of their purpose, and this just by how they show up. Like, they're not insecure, they're grounded, they're rooted, they're alive, they're up to things, they're creative, they're great with people. Like, they're fully unleashed, they're self-expressed, they're living their life in the way that they want to live it. For whatever reason you don't have 5 or you don't have 3, find other people in your life who are just great at what they do. Because odds are, to get there, they probably had to make some hard choices. They had to know their soul's purpose and say no to instant gratification and yes to their soul. So what you're going to ask them, and these are questions to kind of get a sense of their path, get a sense that purpose is something real, that's achievable, that can be embodied and enfleshed and ensouled throughout all the corners of your life. So you'll ask them, how did you know that your path was your path? Some of them, it may have come easy, some of them may come hard. You'll ask them how it shifted over time. Like, you went to this school, and then you discovered that, and then you had this job, and you had a family, and then this. Like really get into the nooks and crannies of their story. Like, how did the meaning of their life shift and evolve over time? Ask them to talk about it and be persistent. Some folks will be like, oh, I just it's one of those things. But like press them. Say like, no, really. Like, what did you think your life was about in your 20s? What did you think it was about in your 30s? What was about in your 40s? Because for some of them, if they haven't done inner work, this might be the first time they're actually answering this question. So you'll ask them, how do you stay rooted in your purpose and your values? How do you make sure that your life is the expression of who you say you are? And then lastly, you'll ask them, what do you wish you had known when you were younger about your path and purpose? And just share or collect what you have, and you feel free to post it and share with others, obviously anonymously. You also continue to work with your purpose tree every morning for 1 to 3 minutes and do your powerful share between your group call and our next lesson. All right, everyone. Congratulations on making it this far, and enjoy your time with your purposeful Titans.